Retiring from the military near Fort Hood? Here's where I'd start. If you're getting ready to retire from the military and you're thinking about staying in Central Texas, I'd like to give you some advice. Don't start by looking at houses. I know that sounds funny coming from a real estate agent, but after helping military families relocate for the last several years and living the military life myself as a military spouse, I can tell you that the biggest mistake I see is people falling in love with a house before they've figured out what kind of lifestyle they want after retirement. When you're active duty, almost every housing decision revolves around work. How close are you to the base? How long is the commute? How fast can you get through the gate? Will your PCS come quickly, or will you be there for a while? Those are important questions when you're active duty. But retirement changes everything. Now you get to choose where you want to live because of the life that you want, not because Uncle Sam told you where to be. That's why I always tell my clients to picture a regular Tuesday. Not a moving day, not Christmas, not when the grandkids come to visit, but just an ordinary Tuesday. Where are you going to get coffee? Where's your grocery store located? Are you still planning to work after retirement? How close do you want to be to church? Would you rather spend your weekends traveling or taking care of acreage? These questions tell me a lot more about the right community than the number of bedrooms ever will. Once we've figured out that, then we'll start talking about places like Salado, Belton, Temple, Harker Heights, Georgetown, or one of the other surrounding communities. There isn't one city that's a perfect fit for everyone. The right place depends on the life that you're trying to build. Once you retire, your life isn't centered around getting through the gate every morning. Now, some of you may decide to keep working. Maybe you've already accepted a civilian job at Fort Hood or somewhere nearby. If that's the case, your commute is still going to matter, but for a lot of military families, retirement is the first time you really get to ask, what do we want our life to look like? That's a pretty exciting question. Instead of asking, how fast can I get to work? You start asking things like, how close do I want to be to family? Do I want to be near restaurants and shopping? Or do I want to have a quiet neighborhood or maybe some acreage? How important is it to be close to my church, my hobbies, or my volunteer opportunities? These are the kind of conversations that I like to have with my clients before we ever schedule a showing. Because once you know what your life is going to look like, choosing the right community becomes much easier. Think about your spouse too. That's something I think gets overlooked sometimes. As a military spouse myself, I know firsthand that military life requires the entire family to make sacrifices. Your spouse has probably adjusted to multiple moves, deployments, changing schools for the kids, and building a new community over and over again. Retirement is finally the chance for both of you to build a life that's based on what you want. So I always encourage couples to sit down and answer a few simple questions separately. What does your perfect day look like? Do you picture yourself sitting on a big patio on the back porch, or walking to dinner, having grandkids over every weekend, or traveling several months of every year? There aren't any wrong answers, but it's amazing how often these conversations help narrow down what kind of home really makes sense. Let's talk about acreage. I can't tell you how many times someone tells me, Roberta, we want 5 or more acres. And my first question is always, why? Sometimes the answer is privacy. Sometimes it's because they have horses, or they want to have a shop, or maybe they've just always dreamed of having land. All of these are great reasons to have acreage, but here's what I also want you to understand. Who's going to mow it? Who's going to maintain the fences? What happens if you're traveling for 3 weeks? How much equipment are you going to need to take care of it? Owning land can be wonderful. I love showing property, but I also want my clients to understand that there's a lot of responsibilities that come with ownership. Sometimes what people really want isn't 10 acres. They just want a little space between them and the neighbors. Those are two very different things. And understanding the difference can save you a lot of money and a lot of work. Choose your community before you choose your house. One of my favorite parts of my job is helping people discover communities they hadn't even considered. Some families love Salado because it has a small town feel, local shops, restaurants, and many community events. Others feel right at home in Belton and Temple because they want easy access to healthcare, shopping, and everything that those cities have to offer. Some people still want to stay close to Fort Hood, so maybe Colleen or Harker Heights makes the most sense. There isn't one community that's better than another. The best community is the one that fits your lifestyle. That's why I always encourage people to spend some time in these areas before buying. Go have lunch. Drive around on a Tuesday afternoon, not just on a Saturday. Visit the grocery store. Go to the park. See what it feels like. See if it fits your lifestyle. A house is important, but so is everything that's around it. Just because you're approved for the loan doesn't mean you need to spend it. I hear this all the time. My lender says I'm approved for, and that's great information. But I think there's a better question. What monthly payment lets me enjoy retirement? Those aren't always the same number. I want my clients to enjoy their retirement. I want you to have money to travel, to spoil the grandkids, to go out to dinner, to enjoy this next chapter, not feel stressed because every dollar is tied up in your mortgage. So what makes a forever home? In my opinion, it's not the granite countertops, it's not the paint colors, it's not the latest in flooring. Those things can all be changed. What matters is the location, the layout, how easy the home is to maintain, whether it fits your daily routine, whether it still makes sense 10 years from now. Those are the things that truly make a house feel like home. One of the reasons I love helping military families is because I understand this life. My family lived it for over 27 years. We've experienced PCS moves, deployments, and all the uncertainty that comes with military life. Retirement is different. This is one of the first times you get to choose where you want to put down roots. Not because you have orders, but because it's where you want to build your next chapter. If you're thinking about retiring near Fort Hood or anywhere in Central Texas, I'd love to help. We'll start by talking about the life that you want to live, and then we'll find the home that fits it. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's the one thing that's most important to you in your forever home?